Welcome to Panel Planner. Today we're going to be going over the basics of installing and operating your Panel Planner software. We'll also give you an idea of the tools and how to get the most value out of Panel Planner. These little small videos are also supported with the documentation that you receive, and of course we do offer free unlimited technical support. So, introductory. For the Windows users, if you have an old copy of Panel Planner that you want to remove, just a note of caution, if you've created any custom instruments or panels, you'd want to remove those from your existing version and copy them and put them in to the new Panel Planner. Also, Windows folks, please run Panel Planner as an administrator. You do that by right-clicking on the icon and select Run as Administrator. It takes just a second, but it makes a real difference. For the Mac folks, what you want to do there is, in your preferences, open your security setting and say allow third-party developers, which is what we are, and we are a certified Apple developer, and then just allow software to be installed. And that has to be set up in your security. And Panel Planner goes in your applications folder. For both users types, what you'll want to do is run the eData update. When you do the install, it's going to ask you to run it, say yes. That's going to give you the latest instruments and panels from our database. That could take a few minutes, so you may want to get a cup of coffee, but run the eData update. Also, the software will open up a blank panel. And what you'll want to do there is look at the preview to find the panel that best matches the existing panel that you have. And you can scroll through as many panels as you want using the preview without using any of your 5 existing panels. Lastly, we offer, as I mentioned, free unlimited technical support, so call or email, because I will tell you the setup of the software is probably the time and the place where most people call with questions, and we're more than glad to try and answer them as quickly and get you operational as fast as possible. So again, we want to say that up front. If you have questions, let us know. We're going to be going through other sessions here in a couple of minutes, but this gets you set up and running. Thank you. The next section I'd like to discuss are the tools. Panel Planner, as I've mentioned, comes with 100 different types of design tools, which helps you set up your particular panel. You as the customer will select, of course, what you want as far as instruments. So drag and drop the instruments that best work for you. And also, again, 1 Mile Up will also customize if you need custom instruments or custom panels. Just email us and we will gladly add that into our database. So get your panel set up. Now on the left-hand side is a list of all the instruments. And those instruments are organized 3 different ways for you. They're organized by manufacturer, so you can look at the manufacturer of individual instruments. You can look at instruments by type. So if you're looking for a transponder, you can have it organized by the type of instrument that you want. Lastly, and I think the most powerful tool for designing your panel is the Find Search feature, which is at the top left-hand corner of your screen. If you type in the search, you can say search for G5 or search for Avidyne, and the system will search in its entire database and find whatever it is you need. There's 2,000 instruments in Panel Planner, and we certainly don't want you to have to scroll through each one to find what you're looking for. So the search find is a powerful tool, and of course being able to sort hopefully will help you as well. Anyway, be as open as you want in that search. You can say, I want to find all the 2-inch instruments, and it will find everything that's 2 inches. Now, if you get a big long list of instruments, an easy way to find what you need is click on the instrument on the top left-hand corner, and then use your down arrow key on your keyboard, and you can quickly get a preview on the bottom corner of every single instrument in the list, and that will help you within seconds find exactly what matches to what you're looking for. So click on the top right and use your arrow key. All the measurement and tools that are on the top corner are also there for you to be able to work with. The first tool, of course, shows your instrument. The tool next to it actually shows the cutout, so you can see what your panel is going to look like when it goes to the fabrication. Next to that, you'll have tools there for measurement. The one with the arrows back and forth will help you do measurements. You have a tool for selection, so you can select where you want the instrument to be moved to, top, middle, bottom, right, all of that's under your control. You have a tool there for spacing and text. The spacing tools allow you to set how far apart the instruments need to be. It also allows you to set a specific distance. And then you have, at last, tool for duplication. That is for fuses or switches where you want to have, let's say, 5 fuses across. You can click on the fuse, click on that button, and then it asks you how many you want. You say 5. You can then specify the distance that you want those fuses apart. Click done, and it will make your fuses both horizontal as well as vertical. And those tools are there again for designing your panel, and there's bunches of them. And we'll spend a little bit of time more, but this was primarily to help introduce you to the tool sets that are available in Panel Planner. In this session, I'd like to discuss actually designing your panel. So Panel Planner has tools in there we've talked about earlier, but how do you bring all those tools and all the other features in Panel Planner to lay out your panel? So you have your panel up, you're starting to move instruments over from the list on the left to the right, you're getting them organized. So with Panel Planner, you'll see a magnifying glass with a minus and a plus. That allows you to zoom in, so you can zoom in on any section of your panel as high as you want to be able to magnify and set specific distances throughout the panel. Panel Planner has two sections. The top section where you see your particular panel image, and then there's a bottom section which is a specification area where it lists every single instrument that you put on the panel. You can actually click on that instrument and change any of the specifications. So if you want to change the price, the weight, the depth of that particular instrument, that's all under your control. Also, even more powerful is you can set the exact location within 1/1000th of an inch of where you want to place any particular instrument on the panel. By the way, the location for 00 is the top right-hand corner in Panel Planner. Under the Tools menu is an option called Panel Top View, which it kind of gives you the ability of looking at the panel straight down so you can see how far behind the panel your instruments go. There's also a tool in there for Night View, so if you intend to do flying at night, you'll know what the aircraft illumination needs are going to be. You can, again, color your panel, and then you can actually flip the image about so you can see what it would be like working on the panel from behind. There's tools in there for text and placards, which allow you then to place boxes and text boxes throughout your panel. And a very important feature is under the Edit menu called Edit Preferences, and that allows you to change the dimensions. When we create panels, we often have to judge based on various pieces what is the exact width, and so our dimensions may be slightly off. And you can again modify that under the Edit Preferences and select Next and change the exact dimensions of the panel, again within 1/1000th of an inch. All of those tools are there, and most of all, we're here for you. So feel free to call us or email and let us know if you have any questions in pertaining to designing your panel. Thanks. Well, the next step in your panel process is sharing your design. How do you get that information to other people? Panel Planner has a variety of tools. Under the File menu is an option called Export, and that allows you to create a file that you can email, a JPEG, a PDF that you can send and let people see either your instruments or your cutouts and be able to get input back on what your panel looks like. And you can have it, as I mentioned, in the bitmap format, which is like JPEG, PNG, allows you to put it on a web page, or you can have it in high vector format. And all of that you can take to a printer and have them print out a large format. When you print inside a Panel Planner, you can actually see that there is abilities again to create a file that you can export. What I would recommend, someone has a large plotter. Places like FedEx Kinko's has plotters, or Office Max, and you can send that image and have that printed out full size again to lay on your aircraft. Under the export is also a export DXF. That's where you get your CAD file for doing machining. And so when you're doing that export, you'll see there's a variety of settings. The most powerful of those settings, I believe, is where you can select the sub-panel that you want to do. So that if you want to do just the pilot, or you want to do the avionics, or you want to do the co-pilot, you can do them in segments by selecting the segment sub-panel that you want to export. You can also export the holes. So if you want to have a separate cutout for your yoke holes or for your mounting screws, all of that are separate. And when you export, you can have your software give you separate files for each one of those. So you'll find that under export, and this, again, all these tools are there for you to take your designs and share them. You can share them with an avionics shop, a friend, someone else who's an owner in your aircraft. But sharing your design is part of the process of using the panel planner, and we will be glad to support you in getting that information out. Again, just call us or email us. Thank you. Okay, we talked about sharing your design. This section, I'd like to talk about comparing your design. When I did a study of my users about 6-7 years ago, I asked them how many renditions of their design did they go through until they got to the final panel that they cut. And the answer was interesting. People change their mind an average of 6 times, giving different designs of their panel before they finally get to the one they're really happy with. And Panel Planner has a very powerful tool to help you do that. Under the window menu is a small little option in there. It's called Tile. And what that does is it allows you to see all your designs at the same time. So you can compare which design you like best. And in that comparison, you can look at which costs more, which is going to weigh more. You can look at all the different types of manufacturers all at one time and come up with a design, again, that fits you best. And the way you build these, I'd like to describe, because this, as I mentioned, is an important feature for looking at different designs. Number one, as you build your first panels, you'll do a Save As. Under the File menu is an option called Save As, Save Work Plan As. Select that and then give each design a different name. And then as you build them up, they'll be there inside of Panel Planner. And then when you have them ready to evaluate, go to the File menu, or the Window menu, and select Tile. And you can see all of them as you've designed them. Another option is, if you have just one design and you want to put it on different blank panels, you can open up a blank panel. So take the existing panel you have, open up a blank one, and then go to the Tile menu, and on one side you'll have the panel with all the instruments, on the other side is a blank. So draw a rectangle around all the instruments that on the left. So you'll have them all selected. Go to the Edit menu and select Copy. Then go to the blank panel on the right, click on that, and then go to the Edit menu and paste. And you'll find the most amazing thing. Not only do you get all your instruments on a blank panel, but it also remembers the exact location, so that it's literally a duplicate that you can then start playing with and making multiple designs and multiple renditions of your panel. Okay? Next way you can really do a comparison is under the Tools menu, you'll see that you can create a list of all your instruments that you have on your panel. And you can export that list. You can also take that list and add labor costs to that and do some estimates about what you really think that panel is going to cost. Then take that email and email that to places like Aircraft Spruce, and you can get pricing from different vendors of instruments to find out what it's going to cost, doing a good solid comparison, or even send it to your avionics shop or your machine shop so that they know what you intend to do with the panel. So all of these tools are there to help you compare, to being able to take different designs and see which design fits you best. Thank you. We talked about doing comparison. Today I'd like to talk about advanced tools. Panel Planner has many tools that are very powerful for laying out panels, and we've already discussed about many of them. But some of the advanced tools, for instance, under the Edit menu, where we talked about Edit Preferences, of course you can change the panel dimensions. However, you can also change the distance around, behind, and underneath the panel. So as an example, let's say you want to create a head-up display for your design. So you can add more space above the panel and then show the graphic of a head-up display as part of your design to see how that's going to work for you. And of course the panel width and underneath, if you intend to put some advanced instruments underneath your panel, all of that is there for your ability to modify. Under the Edit menu are two very powerful tools as well. One is called Hide Show. That allows you to select any of the instruments that you want to temporarily hide, and so you can remove them and then place other instruments around it to see how best you might want to use the space. So you can compare, again, different sizes of instruments and how they might fit in a specific space. And again, that's under the Hide Show. Another tool under the Edit is called Lock and Unlock. Very often when someone does a panel design, they have one instrument that's absolutely key to their design. And so what you can do is lock that instrument in place so it doesn't move no matter what you align, no matter what you space. That one master instrument will be in a locked position. Another important feature is the eData Update. That particular feature allows you to get the latest instruments and panels. And where that is really such a key feature is you can email us, tell us what you need that's new, and we will add that in for you, whether it's a panel or custom instruments. So eData Update is one way that you can have more exact instruments for your design. Under the tools and help, there's articles on what you can do to have the best possible panel. There's articles in there how to get financing, how to get fabrication, and all those tools are there for you right inside of Panel Planner, including a special offer from eMachine Shops for actually fabricating your panel and also giving you plastic sheets to get started. We'll cover fabrication next, and that will be our last little session. But I also always want to encourage you, if you have questions or problems, email, call, we want to help you. Thank you. Welcome back. This is our last session, and of course it's probably the last step in your panel design, which is the actual fabrication of your panel, turning that panel into something that you're going to be putting in your aircraft. When people fabricate, there's generally several different ways they go at this. One, they'll use hand cutting tools to hand cut the aluminum. Second, they will take this to a shop where they have either a laser jet or a water jet and have the panel fabricated that way. The third way is there's a product called Panel Pro, which many avionics shops use, which actually is meant for creating instrument panels. And either one of those ways that you decide you want to fabricate, Panel Planner can help you. And let me describe each one and give you ideas of how to help you better fabricate your instrument panel using Panel Planner. However, before we go into that, there's a real touchy subject we have to bring up, and that's called mounting screws. Mounting screws are often shown in the drawings that come from the manufacturer. And whenever we can see them, we will put them on our master drawing. However, I found that if a mounting screw is off by 1/32 of an inch, what happens is it makes the next one off 2/32 and 3/32, and it's a multiplying factor. So it's very important that your mounting screws be exact. And in that vein, what I've also suggested is our software will allow you not to cut out the mounting screws. You can select that as a section not to cut, and you can then manually create the holes for your mounting holes. So you can take like a Sharpie and then mark on the plastic sheet where every single one of the mounting holes on the panel are, and then use a hand punch or a drill to actually put the hole locations so you have them exactly where they need to be. And again, we just caution you, mounting screws, because some aircraft have them in very precise locations, it's important to be just double care when you're mounting your physical panel. Now, this section I have underlined 3 times because it's very important. Always cut something cheap first. I'll say it again, always cut something cheap first. It's really important because behind an instrument panel there's many things that can happen that can restrict where you can place an instrument. There are big bundles of cables, or there could be an obstruction, there could be a mounting And with that types of problems, it really restricts where you can place your instruments and how deep you can go. Sometimes the fuselage is curved at the edges, and that will restrict how you can mount. So what I ask of you, in fact I dearly ask of you, is when you cut something cheap. Now, if you're cutting with a hand tool, you can cut paper. That's no sweat. You can cut a sheet of paper and lay that over. If you're going through a laser jet or a water jet, then you can have them cut something like plastic, mylar plastic that you can actually see through, so that when you lay that plastic on your panel, you can see where the obstructions are, and you can see how deep behind the panel your instruments are going to be allowed to go. Really, it's a cheap way of making sure. And by the way, in the 25 years we've been selling Panel Planner, I have not had one customer out of our thousands who have ever complained that they cut something cheap first to just double check, that making sure everything is going to work. So it's really worthwhile to do it. So if you have a laser jet, water jet, plastic, if you're hand cutting, use paper. Now if you have the Panel Pro, the thing that I would ask of you is when you're exporting the DXF files, do them in separate layers. And that's important because the Panel Pro comes with its own software. They have their own CAD application. And it's very much into setting up layers. The layers for holes, the layers for the outside of the panel. All of these things are separated. And with a Panel Planner, you can give Panel Pro a better head start by giving them layers. You are still going to be doing work inside of their software to get your panel cut set up. But however, how you work with Panel Planner can make that job a little bit easier. So when you export in Panel Planner, you'll see there's also a variety of settings, so that if the manufacturer has already given you a piece of aluminum that's already set for that panel, and then all you have to do is cut holes in that, Panel Planner will allow you to set just the instruments as an option to cut. And again, I can't say it enough, please cut something cheap first just to make sure everything's going to work. Modify, check your mounting screws, and certainly use us. I will tell you, besides the setup, the most common place people call and ask for help is when they're actually fabricating, when they're working with their shops and they need to either have DXF or DWG files or something that's unique for that particular shop, and we'll be glad to support you in that process. Because this is the last step before you actually fly that panel, is fabricating. So to end, we want to thank you for being a customer. We want to tell you that there's nothing but value we find in working with you and being able to design a great panel. We have thousands of happy customers, and we're glad to have you. Let us know how we can help you, and thanks for being with us.